What's up, everybody? This is your boy Chainsaw, and in this video we're going to talk about keeping your mouth shut, staying in your lane, specifically when some of us have memories that last longer than like 6 months, right? There's a lot of crazy stuff that's been going on over the last half a week, and over continuing over the weekend that I really was uncomfortable with covering. To be quite honest, I was uncomfortable with having a public opinion about it. But then, through the magic of, let's say, ego, I found a perfect way to interject on what's been happening at home and abroad, right? For those of you who have been paying attention, you know that there was an attack on the Kabul airport a couple of days ago. I believe there were 60 Afghans who were killed and 13 U.S. service members. This was just 2 days ago, right? Just 2 days ago. And well within less than 24 hours of finding out about this incident, well, some of us who probably should have kept our mouths shut decided that we wanted to jump in. Now, for those of you who don't know, I just started a Twitter. It's pretty neat. I'm still getting the ins and outs, but look what I found on Twitter. Boy. So, Governor Mike Parson posted initially, we're saddened to hear the loss of lives due to the crisis in Afghanistan. We honor and thank our American service members who have made the ultimate sacrifice, protecting our allies, assets, and American freedom. And one of the cool things about Twitter is you can actually continue your tweets because they only give you so many characters, right? I'm still figuring this stuff out myself. But they only give you so many characters, so if you have anything else to say, you have to include that in an additional tweet. So Governor Mike Parson, in his infinite wisdom, decided to include this little tidbit. The Biden administration's gross negligence has cost American military families unnecessary heartache and heartbreak. This administration must do better and prioritize the safety and security of our service members. President Biden's efforts so far have been simply shameful. Of course, Teresa and I continue to pray for our civilian soldiers and allies who remain in harm's way, as well as their loved ones back home. Now, come on. So the Biden administration's gross negligence, are you kidding me? This guy has anything to say about gross negligence? Heartache and heartbreak. Do better to prioritize safety. Administration and his efforts are shameful. Boy, it seems like an autobiography, right? All right, let's just jump right into that. So this was posted on August 26th. Now, the next day, this is August 27th. This is from KOMU out of Columbia. Governor Parson felt it in his infinite wisdom to terminate the state of emergency, issues a new order to help the healthcare system, right? So to streamline that state of emergency, boy, we know what happens when this guy streamlines stuff. So Missouri Governor Mike Parson terminated the state of emergency. It's been in effect since March 13th, 2020. The state of emergency enabled the state to expand and utilize COVID-19 resources. Issued a new executive order to address the continued stresses on Missouri's healthcare system. And this is posted also in his Twitter feed. But so he wants to streamline the executive order, the emergency declaration, right? Now, keep in mind, every time Mike Parson decides in his infinite wisdom to streamline something, we end up with a heartache and tragedy for, American families, specifically for Missouri families. You may recall just a few months ago, this being in the headlines, Springfield Hospital's addressing internal vaccination rates. Governor Mike Parson criticizes health leaders' approach to vaccines. That was, July 13th, 2021. Criticized health leaders' approach to vaccines on Tuesday, including mandated shots at Mercy Hospital. Governor said state is not in a crisis. Boy, imagine that. Governor Parson claims Mercy Hospital ventilator shortage caused by mismanagement. So, when this guy says he wants to streamline, these programs, this is really what he means. We've kind of seen this, and it ends in heartache and heartbreak. And, we're talking about whose administration has been running a shameful gambit. But, keep in mind, folks, this is the same guy who, what was that back? So the CARES Act. It passed in March of 2020, right? This is a guy who's basically since March of 2020 held on to $30 million that was just issued. What was that? Published by KY3 on August 11th, 2021, that he held on to $30 million for healthcare to fight COVID. Waited until 2021, waited until the end of, waited until after July. So 10,000 already dead, and then again decides, hey, maybe $30 million, maybe no is such a good thing to just go ahead and hang on to. I mean, like it's his money, right? Like it's coming out of his pocket. But, you know, this is the same guy who in December 2020, when President Trump signed, you know, the second stimulus, right? That was going to include the $600 per person checks. Of course, everybody remembers that. What you may not remember, but we're all going to find out a whole lot more about in the coming weeks now that the eviction ban is over. This second stimulus package came with an additional $45.5 billion that was signed off by President Donald Trump for rental assistance, specifically for rental assistance to help landlords and to help their tenants to pay the rent. Okay, now that was passed in December, on December 27th, 2020. Okay, and again, how long did it take for Governor Parson to do anything with that money? Well, fast forward to about February 11th. So like literally a month and a half. It took him a month and a half to figure out, what are we going to do with all this money for people in a pandemic, in a crisis? I mean, no wonder he didn't think that the COVID, 19 levels, the deaths of 10,000 Americans, 10,000 Missourians, was any kind of a crisis situation, any kind of an emergency situation that needed his attention, right? No wonder he had no problem holding on to that additional $30 million when hospitals were in dire need. No wonder he took the time and the trouble to blame mismanagement on behalf of the hospitals, right? But, so he's been holding hostage federal funds for over a year. Took him a month and a half to get that money out. Now that the Supreme Court has ruled the eviction ban, the second eviction ban, to be unconstitutional, well, a lot of folks are finding out the hard way. So out of the $46.5 billion that's been allocated by the federal government, only $25 billion of that has actually been spent. That's right, 11% of those funds have been spent. And 89% of that money that Donald Trump signed off for when he was president last year is still there, being held hostage by governors and state governments across the country. This isn't just a Mike Parson problem, but for the state of Missouri, it is very much a Mike Parson problem. With all this money being withheld, 10,000 dead right here at home, 10,000 Americans right here in the state of Missouri. You don't have to go that far to find a shameful administration whose gross negligence has cost American families heartache and heartbreak. And with that, good luck to you come Monday. Let's see what happens, right? Look, if you like this kind of content, give me a subscribe on the channel. Hit me up on Facebook. Yeah, we'll see you there.